Hi, I'm Graham and welcome back to Man vs Film. I have got 10 movies to recommend you this month of October for 2018 on Amazon Prime US, and because it is October I threw in a few horror movies or kind of bloody thrillers in there to keep you busy during this scary month. So let's get started with number 10, The Stepfather. A family values man named Jerry Blake marries widows and divorcees with children in search of the perfect family. As soon as his new family members show signs of being human and not robots who will march unquestioningly to his tune, his dreams of domestic bliss begin to crumble and he kills them. This isn't the 2000 remake, this is the movie from the 80s starring Terry O'Quinn, who gives a fantastic performance as this man who kind of weasels his way into a family, and when things don't settle up the way he wants, brutally murders the lot of them. This is a fantastic performance. It spawned 2 sequels after it. It was that big a movie, and if you haven't heard of it, it's a nice little horror to check out. Number 9, The Burbs. This story takes place in a typical American neighbourhood. When some new neighbours come to live in the house next to Ray Peterson, these people are really strange. Nobody has ever seen them. Their house is a real mess, and during the night you can hear weird noises from their basement. The only thing they know is their name, the Klopeks. One day a neighbour disappears and everyone starts to suspect the Klopeks of murder. I am a huge fan of Joe Dante's The Burbs. Stars Tom Hanks, and I think it is one of the most rewatchable movies I've ever seen. I watch it a lot and it never loses its lustre. I think it is fantastic, incredibly funny, and it has that nice borderline of homages to horror movies as well as being really funny at the same time. You get a whole cast of characters, all of whom are individual and three-dimensional, and all of whom have these kind of complex relationships to each other, and it just works tremendously well. If you haven't seen it, you've got to check this one out. Number 8, Acts of Violence. When his fiancée is kidnapped by human traffickers, Roman and his ex-military brothers set out to track her down and save her before it's too late. Along the way, Roman teams up with Avery, a cop investigating human trafficking and fighting a corrupt bureaucracy that has harmful intentions. This movie's sold as a Bruce Willis picture, but he's barely in it, maybe 10 minutes of the screen time. The rest of the movie is actually a pretty good action thriller. There's no real substance here. It's one of these movies that you can dig out the popcorn, switch off your brain, watch for 90 minutes and then instantly delete it from your head, but know that you had a fairly decent time watching it. Number 7, Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows. After facing Shredder, who has joined forces with mad scientist Baxter Stockman and henchmen Bebop and Rocksteady to take over the world, the Turtles must confront an even greater nemesis, the notorious Krang. I wasn't a huge fan of the original Turtles. I found that the second one gave me more of what I was looking for. It had a more cartoony feel about it. It introduced Krang, Rocksteady and Bebop into the mix, and it was just more fun and outlandish and really struck a chord with me as a movie I went back to again and again when I want just some mindless fun. Number 6, Baywatch. In sun-kissed Emerald Bay, the vigorous Lieutenant Mitch Buchanan and Baywatch his elite team of hand-picked and perfectly tanned lifeguards protect the bay, keeping both sunbathers and beach lovers safe. However, this summer, 2 new eager trainees will join the demanding life-saving programme, as well as an insubordinate former Olympic swimmer, who are all called to prove their worth on the lifeguard towers. I have a real thing about the Rock movies. I kind of like the guy. I love to go and see what he's done, and very rarely do I find a movie that I wholly enjoy. This one has moments that I really do like. It has characters that I really do think are funny. It has situations that I was laughing out loud at, but it has other things that aren't as great. Like the drug dealing mystery at the heart of it feels like a perfunctory part of the movie. It has to be there, but it's not really that important. And we have some characters that don't really mix well, but overall I was left with a kind of happy feeling after watching this. Okay? I laughed a few times. And The Rock is always good as an entertainer, and here he does what he does best and looks good while he's doing it. Number 5, Nerve. An online dare game in which people give participants anonymous dares for money. The participants compete with each other to win the grand prize as the dares get tougher. Things get worse when the tasks get increasingly dangerous and lives are at stake. Nerve is one of those movies that I've watched way more than I ever thought I would have when I first went into the cinema. I absolutely adore this movie. I think it's fantastically well paced. We get a couple of characters that you can really latch onto. You get these crazy situations that are fun, kinetically shot, invigorating. You get some bad guys to root against. The movie has everything, it really does. And I think Nerve is a movie that everybody should see because it's just a whole lot of fun. Number 4, The Girl with All the Gifts. In a dystopian near future, humanity has been ravaged by a mysterious fungal disease. The afflicted are robbed of all free will and turned into flesh-eating hungries. Humankind's only hope is a small kind of hybrid children who crave human flesh but retain the ability to think and feel. The children go to school at an army base in rural Britain where they are subjected to cruel experiments. This movie has a fantastic cast and all the actors really do great work, but it's a nice twist on the zombie genre. You have this lead character, the girl who have the title, the girl with all the gifts, who is a zombie but still has the ability to think and feel and act human, be able to be compassionate with other people but still be extremely deadly in moments as well. And the story is rather strange the way it is told, and it's broken into various sections, and there are moments where it is really tense and upsetting. There is moments where you are fearing for the lives of some of these characters. It's one of these movies where you know there is going to be lots of people who get lost along the way, this journey that they are on. Some people you're going to miss, some people you're going to be glad to see the back of, but at the end of it, it kind of leaves a little sting in its tail as well, and it's a really good adaptation of the young adult novel. Number 3, Watchmen Unlimited Cut. In a gritty and alternate 1985, the glory days of costumed vigilantes have been brought to a close by the government crackdown. But after one of the masked veterans is brutally murdered, an investigation into the colours is initiated, and reunited heroes set out to prevent their own destruction, but in doing so discover a deeper and far more diabolical plot. I really like Watchmen. I think it's a pretty good adaptation of the graphic novel, although it switches things about at the end, but that's understandable why they did that. This version adds more content into it, as well as the animated side plot, Tales of the Black Freighter, and if you've read the book, you know that kind of perpetuates the book as well, and this just gives you a whole complete version of that Watchmen film. If you liked it and you haven't seen this version, I think you're going to really love what it adds to the tale. I think it's fantastic. It's a great anti-superhero movie. I think it's one that's been kind of forgotten about or maligned, and that's unfair. Number 2, The Neon Demon. An aspiring model, Jessie is new to Los Angeles. However, her beauty and youth, which generate intense fascination and jealousy within the fashion industry, may prove themselves sinister. Nicholas Winding Refn's movie is absolutely hypnotic. I waited a long time before checking this out, and I'm kicking myself because I waited so long. This was a movie that I instantly fell in love with. From its fantastically well thought out shots, almost every one of them looks as stunning as the actors in the middle of them. It just gives you this air of atmosphere. You're never quite sure what's going to happen, but you have this feeling that not everything is right. Things are wrong off in this world. You have this main character of Jessie who comes to Los Angeles innocent and is warped, chewed up and spat out by the city around her, by all these people who want things from her, who want what she has. This is at its heart a horror story, and if you haven't watched it, I think you're in for a real treat, and I really suggest checking it out. Number 1, Unsane. Sawyer Valentini relocates from Boston to Pennsylvania to escape the man who's been stalking her for the last 2 years. While consulting with a therapist, Valentini unwittingly signs for a voluntary 24-hour commitment to the Highland Creek Behavioural Centre. Her stay at the facility soon gets extended when doctors and nurses begin to question her sanity. Sawyer now believes that one of the staffers is her ex, and she'll do whatever it takes to stay alive and fight her way out. Steven Soderbergh's movie, that was shot on an iPhone, stars Claire Foy as Sawyer, the woman who starts to believe that she could be breaking apart. Is she seeing things? Is she not? This is a psychological thriller that has bigger aspirations. I don't want to spoil it to you here in this review, but I think it's one that you should really check out. There is some interesting film making techniques here as well. When you have the idea that it was filmed on iPhones, you get to understand why some of the angles have been chosen the way they have. But at its heart, you get a really nice mystery and thriller as well. I think Unsane It's a pretty terrific movie. That's why I've put it at the top of my list this month. I think it's one that I highly suggest. I do love Swedenborg movies. I'd love to know your thoughts on the movie. So there it is, Unsane, my number one for October 2018. So there we have my 10 suggestions. I'd love to know if there's anything that I missed out or something that you would suggest. Let me know in the comment box below if there's anything you would like to see on my list or what you thought about it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time on Man vs. Film.